Whenever you know what you don't want, you always know more clearly what you do want. And if you could turn more often toward what you do want and speak primarily of that, your lives would move so splendidly. But somehow or other, over time, you get oriented to knowing what you don't want and then wanting to talk to others about that. And explaining how much you really don't want that. Now, the whole time you're explaining why you really don't want that, a rocket of desire about what you really do want is going out, and source energy is riding that rocket, and the larger part of you is going that away toward what you really want. But humans, bless your heart, know so clearly what you don't want. And for some reason, it's so compelling. It's almost as if you feel that you need to justify what you do want by really explaining how awful what you don't want is. So you've become really expert at describing what you don't want. You join those online chat groups. You subscribe to those complaining newsletters. You watch those particular television programs that really zero in on what you do not want and articulate it to perfection. You have become experts about what you don't want, which means the larger part of you has become expert about what you do want. But until the physical part of you gets oriented in the direction of what you do want, you're setting up a sort of tug of war inside yourself that is unpleasant. The reason it feels so bad not to have what you want is not because you're not getting what you want. It's because you're splitting your energies, and splitting your energies feels bad. Everything that you want, whether it's a material object, a relationship, a state of being, a pile of money, it doesn't matter, a circumstance, an event, every single thing that you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. And we want to say, of course you would feel better in the having of it, but you could feel better immediately in the not splitting your energy about it. When you know what you want and why you want it, you're usually more aligned in your energy. But when you know what you want and why you want it, but you don't know where it's going to come from, who's going to bring it, when it's going to come, how it's going to get there, and those are the drums that you're beating, then you set up this discord within you. And it's this vibrational discord that we really want you to come to an understanding of, because if you get a sense of this vibrational discord, then you will come to understand how you sense your vibrational discord through your emotions and what to do about releasing the vibrational discord and coming into alignment. When you offer one singular signal about what you want, all of the resources that exist, the energy that creates worlds, lines up with you to assist you in the achievement or the becoming of that which you are asking for. So we want to give you a brief description of how this all fits together. You are, of course, magnificent physical beings in these beautiful bodies, but you are not the flesh, blood, and bone being that you think you are. You are a vibrational energy being first and foremost. The reason that you even see yourself in this body is because your eyes translate vibration, your ears translate vibration, so you hear, your eyes translate vibration, so you see. Even your fingertips, everything that you feel or taste or smell, these are vibrational interpretations. You are a vibrational being who has come forth from source energy. And from that source energy vantage point, you understood your complete worthiness. You understood the laws of the universe. You understood that you were wanting to project a part of yourself into the leading edge time-space reality for the purpose of coming to new conclusions. You are a creator, and you knew that your best creating is done out there on the leading edge where there are all of these magnificent choices to choose from. So the larger part of you, vibrational being that you are, remains non-physically focused. Do you get that? Someone said, Abraham, do you ever come forth and be physical? And we say, we are physical all over the place. But if all of us came forth and be physical, there would be no energy that feeds that which came forth to be physical. It's like the toaster. You plug it into the electricity, but the electricity doesn't come and be the toaster. The electricity bees the electricity, and the toaster is the toaster. So let's say you are experiencing depression, and you reach for a feeling of relief. What do you think a feeling of relief from the state of depression might feel like? It's not going to feel wonderful. You've been depressed. It's just going to feel better. It's probably going to feel like revenge. Now, others outside of you, especially those that are over here feeling love and appreciation, when they see you find revenge, they're going to say, wrong will lock you up for that feeling. But if you are addressing it from your personal point of view, you know there was a breath of fresh air in revenge. At least you're breathing now. When you were depressed, you couldn't even breathe. Now you're mad as hell. At least you are breathing, you see. So what we are wanting you to realize is you have to leave everybody else's opinion about how you're doing out of the equation because they don't know. It doesn't matter where anybody else is. It only matters where you are. And it only matters that you have awareness whether in this moment you are choosing the next thought that turns you more upstream or the next thought that turns you more downstream. Sometimes we think that you don't really understand the stream and the way we're projecting it to you because we want you to understand that as this stream is moving and it's moving toward everything that you have become, which means all of the money, all of the bodily conditions, all of the things that you're wanting, this stream is moving toward. As you understand that this stream is moving toward it, then you know that you don't have to turn your boat around and begin to paddle downstream. In fact, you don't even have to turn your boat around. Just let go of the oars. When you let go of the oars, the stream will turn you. And as the stream turns you, and you don't keep turning it around and paddling, the stream will carry you further and further and further into the waters that contain the things that you're wanting. And those things that you're wanting begin to light up more and more and more and more and more and more and more. At first, it's just a feeling of relief. But as you keep reaching for a feeling of relief, pretty soon, the feeling of relief from depression is revenge. That's not all that much relief, you might say. But the feeling of relief from revenge is anger. Not that much relief, you might say, but it feels a little better. But from anger, the feeling of relief is like frustration. Frustration's a whole lot better feeling than anger. And from frustration, the feeling of relief is hope. Oh, what a feeling of hope is in relationship to all of that. And once you get into the hope range and you're reaching for feelings of relief, now you're really rolling, you see. The way you feel is your supreme guidance. The source within you is never saying, oh, what's taking you so long? The source within you is always just standing there, being who you've become, offering a signal that is calling you toward it. And when you go, you feel good. And when you don't, you don't. So every negative emotion that you feel means the same thing every time. You're not moving in the direction of who you've become. You're not keeping up to speed with you. And you know that's why you're mad. When somebody hurts your feelings, you know what's really happening. You're not up to speed with you. When you think something has gone wrong and you feel terrible about it, you know what's happened? You're not up to speed with you. In fact, the best thing that you could do, get out your notebook every day often and write a new page for each time you feel some negative emotion towards a circumstance or toward a person. And write, dear whoever it is or whatever it is, what is it that I am thinking about you that's keeping me from being who I am? Because when you say, what are you doing that's making me feel this way? You're totally disempowered because now they've got to stop doing whatever it is that they're doing that's making you feel that way. And you know they're not gonna, not for very long. If there's only one of them, you might be able to wrestle them to the ground, take them to the naughty spot, put them in jail, do something with them to keep them from doing that thing that you think that they should not have done. But as soon as they get loose of you, they're going to do it again because they're not here to live their life for you. So when your happiness depends upon what somebody else does, you're in deep doo-doo because you cannot get them to control their behavior to please you. They were not oriented that way. They are like you. They are like every particle of the universe. They are selfishly oriented, you see. But when you say, you need to stop doing that so that I can feel better, you're hurting my feelings, and feel the difference. What is it that I'm thinking about you that's keeping me from being who I really am? What is it that I'm thinking about you that my source energy is not thinking about you? What excuse am I using about you as my excuse to separate myself from myself? Can you feel the empowerment of that? Government, what is it that I'm thinking about you that's keeping me from being who I really am? What is it that I'm thinking about you that's keeping me from getting up to speed with all that I've given birth to and the picture of a better world that I have given birth to that's waiting in my vibrational escrow? What is it that I'm currently thinking about you that's keeping me from getting up to speed with that new and improved world? And this is the thing that we so want you to hear. Future generations will be born up to speed with your new and improved world. Can you imagine the vibrational escrow that they are being born from into this physical time-space reality? But we think that it is time, and you have summoned us forth because you want it to. We think that it's time for you to keep up to speed with your vibrational escrow. We don't think you should have to wait to croak to get up to speed with it. We love that word, croak, 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 croak. You know, you're all going to croak, croak, croak. You are. And when you do, it's such a wonderful day because you leave behind all doubt and fear and all of that resistance, and you come right up to speed with all that you've lived. And the party that we all have together, as you say, oh man, I was making such a big deal over things that don't matter. None of that. You don't say any of that. You would say that from your human form. You would say, oh man, if I knew then what I know now. So here we are to help you know now what you knew then. To help you remember who you are, to help you to come back into alignment with the fullness that is you. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important. Nothing is off limits. We see our value to you to get you pointed in the direction of what you want. And so that will be the emphasis that we will offer. A woman sat in the chair one day. She said, my child asked me to ask you a question. Why are grown-ups so grumpy? And we said, because the longer you live, the more you find to fuss and worry about. And the more you find to fuss and worry about, the more you paddle upstream. The more you know what you don't want, the more you know what you do want. The more you know what you do want, the faster your stream moves. The faster your stream moves, the more it behooves you to turn in the direction of it. But if you don't turn in the direction of it, then you know what you don't want. And the more you know what you don't want, the more you know what you do want. And the more you know what you do want, the faster your stream moves. But if you don't turn in the direction of the way your stream is moving, then you know what you don't want. And if you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. All that you've lived has caused your stream to move really, really fast. And what you're thinking right now is indicating whether you're going with it or against it. Isn't it nice to know that you hold all of the power to feeling the way you want to feel? So, what do you want to talk about?
Good morning.
It is.
I would like you to put into context for me so I can have some clarity about what I hear as three different things that I've heard you say about the deliberate creation process. One is to hold something, a vision specifically of what you want, and it must come to you. I've also heard you say, find the essence of what you want and feel that, and it must come to you. And then I've heard you say, take what you want completely out of the equation, and it must come to you. And I'd like some clarity about that.
You get the picture that your life has caused you to actually create it, and that it has been created and is waiting for you.
Yes.
So, what was the first question?
The first one is to hold the vision of something specifically
so
about what you want.
Imagine having found relief, found relief, found relief, found relief. And so now you're able to focus upon what you know you want, and in doing so, feel the enthusiasm for it. In other words, Jerry and Esther bought a house in California a couple of months ago, and it's being remodeled. Sort of demolished and rebuilt would be a better word for it. Since there's no question that it's happening, they have endless hours of satisfaction just thinking about it, thinking about the new door, thinking about the new fountain, thinking about the new deck. In other words, so as they focus specifically upon this thing over which they feel no resistance at all, they use it as their excuse to say tuned in, tapped in, turned on, so that all manner of all other wonderful things can flow to them. So that's the first one. What was the second one?
The second one was to find the essence of what you're wanting.
All right,
or feeling
so
about
let's say that you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want. And so you have this sense of what you're looking for. You know that you want to feel free. You know you want to feel good. You don't know exactly how it will play out. And when you try to think specifically about it in this case, it makes you turn upstream. So you just try to find the general feeling of it, which makes you turn downstream. So it's not ready to manifest, and it's not ready to give you that fast ride on the river that you're so excited about. But it is a lot better than being resistant, you see. And what was the last one?
To take it out of the equation.
Well, that's when you really, really want something and you really, really don't think you can have it. And you really, really want it and you want it so much. But every time you think about it, you beat the drum of not having it louder, because not having it is stronger in your vibration than having it. So every time you think about it, you feel bad instead of good. Well, you'd be better off not to think about it. Because when you're thinking about it, you're thinking about not having it, because that's the way you've trained yourself on this particular subject. So all of these are talking about turning downstream, but the beauty of your question is that the first question, what was it again?
Holding the vision of something specific.
All right, that's someone who is mostly feeling appreciation. You're way past hope. You're in appreciation. And now as you hold the vision of what you want, you easily turn downstream. So the first example is someone who's already very close to the manifestation of it, that just takes such pleasure in it. In other words, that's turning downstream from appreciation. What was the second one?
The essence of it.
That's someone who's in overwhelmment or frustration or maybe a little bit of doubt, turning downstream from there. And what was the last one?
Take it out of the equation.
That's someone really, really, really bummed out about not having what they want, turning downstream. Don't you love it?
Thank you.